Film before a live studio audience. Norm!
Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Adventure Time Series 5 from Manga Entertainment. And oh boy, is there quite a lot. This one comes with 2 discs this time, so I think it's about 56 episodes that you get, which I was very kind of pleased with. When I put the second disc in to look at it, I was like, holy crap, there's more. I thought there'd be like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, but you effectively, it's just a large collection of episodes, which is absolutely great. Now, if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. With that, we're going to jump straight in. So I'm going to keep it going to what I liked before. So what moments I think were quite good in Adventure Time and my kind of thoughts about it. So yeah, we start the season, it's called Finn the Human, and the second one is called Jake the Dog. So in Finn the Human, we find out exactly what happened with the Lich's wish, as well as the kind of the Finn the Human, the robot arm. We're gonna call him Other Finn. So this episode I really like because everything has changed. It is not the same as what it was with the previous era. So Jake is an actual dog that just barks. Finn, it has got a robotic arm, so that again is kind of interesting to know how he lost it. Much later on, he meets Marcy, who isn't the vampire queen that we've seen. She is an old woman who has been around for 1,000 years, who is protecting Ice Crown from anyone who tries to come in and steal it. Now in Finn's families, they have to sell things because they can't make the rent, or they have to pay this bandit gang or something like that. Which is kind of annoying because they're all massive dicks. You can see some characters that have changed, like Goose has changed completely. He is a natural person. And Finn sells or has his donkey stolen. Very weird when you put those two together. Finn finds the crown and he takes it from Marcy, which you can see the remains of Simon and a bomb that hasn't gone off, a nuclear bomb. The ice power is kind of freezing it. So if something happened to that bomb, boom, you'd see a lot of destruction. I don't know if this is kind of going into Jake the Dog as well, but it kind of continues where Finn does get his stuff back. But the gang has decided to destroy the town, destroy his home as well, which then causes Finn to actually put on the crown and he becomes a little bit like Ice King. Now, within this kind of thing that's happening, Jake doesn't kind of make a wish, but he's kind of he doesn't care at all. And this is like, with something this big and this large, you kind of think that Jake would actually take more responsibility, rather than when he tries to make a wish to stop all this, you know, he gets stopped by Prisma, but then decides that he wants a perfect sandwich, or he wants a sandwich, and he's willing to kind of make his wish on that one until Prisma goes, no, I'm just gonna make you one. It's this sort of mentality that I generally don't like Jake for. I like him at times, but when it's like, man, I can't be bothered, things will happen on its own. It's that mentality that I think needed to change quite a bit. But obviously, as we're now into season 5, it's not going to change, and they're going to keep it exactly the same. So in kind of all, the Lich does get released and a bomb does go off, and Finn has helped everyone. He's saved everyone, but at the last moment, Prismo gives the idea to Jake and say, hey, you need to go back in time to change the Lich's wish, which was basically to wipe out all of humanity. So basically they changed the wish to, I wish to send Finn and Jake home, and that's pretty much it. Quite a simple wish. So therefore the episode ends there, but leaves on a cliffhanger of what happens to Other Finn as he's kind of battling the Lich. That's what I wanted to see. And we don't see that until very much later on in the series. The most weirdest episode in this is All Your Fault, which is basically Lemon Grab has his Lemon City, his Lemon Kingdom, and they've gone through food because they wanted to create lemon people. They had a lifetime supply of food, so it's all gone. And it's just, when you see some of these creatures, like these lemon people, you're thinking, dear God, no. Oh my God. There are deformed ones. There are ones that have been kind of hidden away. There's a giant one that's kind of hidden, and you kind of see what goes on. So at the very beginning of this episode, they hear that Bubblegum has got more food. So Bubblegum decides to give them more food after kind of a bit of hesitance. So therefore Jake and Finn go there. That's when they see all this crazy stuff. And it's just one episode where I like Lemon Grab at times, but seeing what he's done to his kingdom really kind of put me off the character. I only watched it because I really want to see what kind of happened but it was so weird. Like me personally, it's not something that I would want to keep watching. And now that I know of that episode, I would pretty much skip it. So I don't have to see it again. But seeing all the weird creatures and the way that they were hungry, the way that they were trying to grab Finn and Jake, just to me was very off-putting, and I didn't particularly really want to watch that episode. It just makes me think that Lemongrab is not the greatest ruler. He's just a dick. I think one of my favorite episodes as well is called Simon and Marcy, where at the very beginning of the episode, Ice King, Finn and Jake and Marcy are all playing basketball, and Finn and Jake kind of want to know why she hangs out with Ice King. And she kind of starts telling the story of how it all formed. And I think out of a few seasons, this is possibly one of the best episodes they put up there. So it shows Marceline and Simon as they were back like 900 odd years. And it shows that Simon was looking after Marceline, protecting her. When he put the crown on, he pretty much turned into Ice King, and he went crazier and crazier. But the way that he just looked after her to make sure that she was safe, I think that was a great episode because it showed a bond, which I think maybe they decided to put in at last minute after they tried to rebuild some of the episodes. You see this whole thing of like Simon protecting her and Marceline actually saying, please don't, like, if you love me, if you care for me, don't put that crown on. But they have to. You see zombie candy people, which were very which we saw back in the very first episode of Adventure Time. The fact is that you see a very maybe very basic bubblegum who literally it helps them at the very end because they're looking for chicken soup because Marcy is ill, so chicken soup is the best way. So they find one can later on. One thing is, Simon mentions to keep his sanity, to keep his mind focused, he has to focus on one thing. And because they've talked about Cheers, which again was a really random thing to add in, that's the main thing. He focuses on the theme song because he basically put on a play for Marceline, and that was a great way. I really wanted them to expand on this, and it's just the way that Ice King knew that this would happen, so he prompts it to say, hey, I'm really sorry, don't blame me for what I've done, I can't do this. And I just thought that was such a great way of putting in, because he knew what was happening and he literally wanted to give her some peace of mind, like some sanity, effectively saying, don't worry about me, I'm fine, I'm more worried about you. And I really wish at times Ice King would integrate this into his memory a bit, so he knows who Marceline is that way. Still protect or still be himself at times, even though that he's crazy and he loves princesses. One of the coolest ones is A Glitch is a Glitch, where basically all of this is in 3D, and it's all about how Ice King wants to be with Princess Bubblegum, and she made a like a joke, or she said, I wouldn't date you unless you're the last person on Ooh. And that's it, that's the whole thing. He wants to date her, so he makes this virus that pretty much gets rid of everything. And one thing I really liked at the very beginning of this episode was when Finn says like, oh, 3D animation's lazy or something, and he punches himself in the face, and he's like, weird, why did I do that?
Man, I don't have the patience for this animation junk. Whoever does this must have no life whatsoever. Oof! Why did I do that?
I laughed because I knew exactly what they were doing, because obviously, you're animating it, he just punched him in the face to say no. So this episode it's not scary, it's just a weird one, but it's a nice one. It's like, here's all this 2D animation that we've done, now we're going to try 3D for one episode, and we'll probably not see it again. Maybe it was also to have something to tie into the video games as well. So I like this sort of episode, and it's weird that it felt like Bubblegum and Jake were having a affair, because Bubblegum's kissing her hand all the time, and then Jake has his hand and they start kissing and they start saying stuff. So you think that they had a thing in this episode, but it's just a little bit weird at the same time. Really briefly, the Jake suit was a good episode, only because later on Jake makes Finn do the baby dance and starts saying it when he's talking to, when Flame Princess has actually introduced Finn to her family. So I thought that was a very weird episode, but it just made me laugh a lot. Just that little part of that section made that entire episode worth it. There's so many episodes. Okay, so Frost and Fire was, again, I think another awakening episode for Finn. but it also kind of reminded me of anime. So in this episode, Finn has this dream after Flame Princess beats up Ice King, where basically Flame Princess is warming his junk. And that's pretty much it. And he really likes that feeling. So he wants to have that dream again, but it doesn't kind of fail. So he basically makes Ice King and Flame Princess fight, thus breaking Finn and Flame Princess up due to the fight. And it's just a very kind of, it's an episode that I think might needed to have been there. It's more showing about puberty and a lot of things like that all the way through for Finn at least. And again, he doesn't know why. I did really like the anime-esque episode like type thing as well. It kind of reminded me a lot of like Dragon Ball Z. So the last episode, which is totally off the cuff on, is Billy's bucket list. So this episode is meant to be the cliffhanger, and it's an episode about all the stuff that Billy wasn't able to do because of he died. Everything's been kind of like ticked off bar two things. One, that he needed to tell Finn something, and there's and also that he had to take his ex-girlfriend for one last ride on his bike. And as therefore it kind of happens. Now, in season 1, Finn absolutely hates the ocean, and that's what he's kind of scared of. So that kind of comes back. Finn now has a grass sword. Completely forgot about that one, which kind of helps him on a few other things. But it's more, I think this one is about kind of like spiritual awakening, I think, because as Finn is scared of the ocean, he does it for Billy. He actually goes through it. And as there's quite a lot, you see a lot more in this world of stuff under the ocean, as well as like little other parts. So when he actually sees Billy in the stars and they have a conversation, Finn then says he's done everything on the bucket list and Billy is absolutely fine. But then he turns around and says, oh, what was that thing that you said that, that you needed to tell me? And when he does actually tell him in the end, you find out that Finn's real dad is alive. And you're like, oh, that's cool. That's a thing. And it was just that kind of cliffhanger. Because Finn is floating in the ocean, it's more of a kind of an opening up because it feels like there's nothing around. You're just there with the ocean and the stars, and thus therefore, you know, your mind can wander, your mind can actually properly think. And seeing this just made me go, oh, I want to know what happens, because you do see a brief image of his father, but you don't see what the characteristics are, just the outline of the shadow. So I kind of really liked it. There was some episodes which were absolutely like stunning. My final thoughts. This season, I think, was absolutely great. I think there were so many episodes to choose from that there are loads to watch. They're not long episodes. I think they're still like 15 minutes per piece or something. But I genuinely really like this season. I really like the fact that there were pretty much twice as much as we have now, so it doesn't feel like you're paying for one season. It feels effectively you're paying for two. I really like the fact that they tied up the loose ends with Billy and it's not just something that they kind of left. I kind of really like the silliness of Jake and Finn because it feels like it's moved on. They got the grass sword, which you see all the way through the whole episode where they're like, oh, hey, look, you know, this sword's demonic now, but it cuts perfectly in every single way. Yeah, there's so much, pretty much everything in this review I liked, which I talked about. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting this. The link is going to be in the description down below for where you can get this. I can't wait for the next lot to come out now. I just really want to watch more Adventure Time. And believe me, for the past couple of days, that's all I've been doing. I think also there's the time one where like Jake makes this perfect sandwich, which I generally thought was a great episode because when he tried to make another one, it didn't have that passion behind it. So figuring it all out, and I think that it ties up a little bit of Cupcake Man and Jake, because Jake doesn't like Cupcake Man, or Mr. Cupcake Man I think it is. So to kind of become sad, he thinks about it, and I'm just like, why? I'm hoping that next season they become more like better friends and stuff. But yeah, I am gonna leave it there. I highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. This is, I think maybe out of all the seasons so far, this is particularly my favorite one. Yeah, I am gonna leave it there. Thank you. Oh, one last thing. When obviously in the grass episode, I really wish they did the whole like, oh, do you remember that armor? That thing that would have been perfect, but they didn't. So I was a bit gutted. But I love the fact that Choose was really pissed off at them. But yeah, it's a good season. I highly recommend it. If you get it, pick it up. If you can watch Adventure Time, definitely worth watching it, especially season 5. yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as a cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Man, I don't have the patience for this animation junk. Whoever does this must have no life whatsoever. Oof! Why did I do that?